Okay. Hello, friends and neighbors. Hope you guys are doing good. Thanks for waiting. I appreciate that. It's a little bit tricky when the game goes like that, so I always have to figure out what time I'm going to be on, and even pre-planning doesn't always work out that way. So thanks for your patience. We had some technical issues on the podcast tonight, so had to get that straightened out. But we are here. The pod will be up here in a little bit. So big game. I hope you all are pretty excited because I thought this really was a step forward for the Kansas City Chiefs tonight, and we have tons to talk about. Andy Hungberg, I'm glad you're here. Thanks for texting me as well. Beer of the evening is Anchor's Christmas beer. Merry Christmas to all of you. It is officially the season. If you'd like to see a review of this beer, I put it on the other channel on the RGR Craft Beer Podcast. Getting all kinds of texts. Sorry I'm late, folks. Next time I'll schedule a little farther out. Tonight is the review. We'll take questions tomorrow night. We do this again at 7 o'clock Arrowhead time. So all of you in Central, 7 o'clock, jump in here, and I'll just go through your questions one by one. If you're new to this channel, welcome. Hope you enjoy it. Everybody be nice in the chat. And this is where I'm just going to give you my take. I'm going to go through my notes. I sit with the laptop every game, and I make my notes so that we all know what's going on. Started out, I thought really, really well, and you heard me talk last week about how the way to stop this Patriots team who wants to run on you, knowing that that's your weakness, is to play Saunders and to play Pennell and to play Reggie Ragland. They did that, and it worked. Reggie made a couple of nice plays. Saunders made a couple of nice plays. In fact, that one where Tom Brady was so scared he threw the ball at the ground for no reason, I thought that was pretty interesting. So well done, Colin Saunders. I think you won that rep. Beyond that, I think what that did is, again, this is what I talk about when I'm saying stop the run early and it sets you up for later. They got some runs later, but it wasn't consistent. It wasn't like they were cramming it down their throats again. And that's what stopping them early does for you. And I think that's really key for this team going forward as well. Denny, how are you? See you from the Philippines. I love that. I saw somebody else from Saudi and somebody from Qatar, so welcome. Hope you guys are doing good around the world tonight. I know that's a big win, so everybody is pretty excited. I'm excited too. I was throwing stuff at the television, not usually a big detractor from the officiating, but the officiating was all over the place tonight. Some good, some bad. I think in the end it came out in the wash. I want to say the way that Bashaud Breeland started this game and the way he ended it, I think really tells a tale of a guy that's resilient. And I know in the cornerback room, he and Mo Claiborne are pretty well respected and pretty well looked to be a guy that can help. So I think that's great. And I think that's something they need going forward. I know a lot of you are really, really high on Travarius Ward, and he still has a lot of potential, but this shows you what I'm talking about when I'm saying he's not a number one. He just gets beat too often. And particularly if he could learn to get his head around earlier in time to play the ball rather than playing the man and trying to strip the catch after it's been made, I think Travarius Ward could be very, very good. And he could push to be a number one corner. Was really disappointed that he missed that one play where Brady scrambled because he just wasn't paying any attention. Otherwise, I think he could have made a pretty serious play there and done a really good job for that defense. Defense is the name of the game. Eric Peregrine, thank you, buddy. Hey, and you don't even have a question. Make sure you ask a question tomorrow night, and I'll ping you first, dude. Thanks for the donation, folks. If you want to support the channel, feel free. Just the $sign down there. You can do a super chat or a super sticker or whatever you feel like. The new T-shirt designs for Mahomes and Juan Thornhill are at the designer. They should be back in the next week. So we'll have some new T-shirts over on the site. That always supports the channel as well and goes into the lighting and some of the new things that I'm looking to do this year to try to jazz up the channel for you guys. Ryan Platt, I like that plan. Game ball. I will get back to that before we're done. That said, not trying to run down Ward. I think expectations are just above where he is. So if we keep our expectations literal about where he should be, I think he's playing decent. Certainly to my expectations as what I call a CB2. Bashaud Breeland is playing to a CB2 level. He's giving up some big plays. He's making some big plays. And that's kind of the deal with Bashaud. Like, he's up and down. I think Mo puts in good third corner reps. And I think he's a guy that you can rely on to do that. The thing that I like about Mo is that his experience is something that he can rely on, that carries him through situational football where he has to make a play and he knows where to be. And you saw him peel off. I showed it in the film room last week or the week before. He knows how to peel off of routes when he knows what to expect. And I think that's a big thing. There's a guy on the other side of the ball we should talk about here in a little bit that should do that as well. To go with him, though, they came out and Spags did exactly what I said he ought to be doing. And I doubt he listened to this, but thanks, Spags. I think you did it. You executed it well. Matthew on Edelman the entire game just about as the primary defender with a safety help over the top. And I think that really, really limited what Edelman could do. Now, it's interesting to say that when you know that Edelman got 95 yards and a touchdown, but still he didn't break this game. It wasn't like we've seen in years past where he has just whatever he wants to do, he can do. And that's a serious issue. So I felt like they limited him well. It did get him in trouble a couple of times. And Romo was pointing it out how when they put him outside that drifted the safety over, you can compensate by that. Because Edelman is still in the slot the majority of the time. When he goes outside, just flip your responsibilities. I would have liked to see them go to a 3 deep. They did late in the game a couple of times. I think that's a wrinkle that they can use going forward, especially against a team that is so concentrated on one player like New England is on Edelman. So look for more 3 deep as we go. That's a classic cover 3 like the Seahawks did over the years. If you want a reference for that, check out their game film. It's great. I think overall, you got Okafor, you got some pressure. You got Nadi was breaking some pressure as well. Tano Passanio got the penetration on the run game. He got penetration and blocked that kick. He chased Brady down and pressured him a couple of times. One in particular that I thought he almost sacked him. You got a lot from the front four. And the linebackers played pretty well in the run game. You're absolutely right, Oregon. I think everything came together. And so it's hard for me to pick one guy. I thought Hitch did well in his role. I thought Damian Wilson stepped up and played better than he had last week. A little more aggressive. And I even commented on Twitter once. You saw a rundown early that was going off tackle, and he crashed that gap and attacked the gap, and he did exactly what I've been saying he's had to do. And that when he does, he plays well, and that sets the defense up. I think overall, you have to give the game ball to Steve. Spagnuolo got his entire unit ready to go after this team, and they did it efficiently. If this defense had not played this well, this game's over. Chiefs walk out of there with a loss. So I think it is very significant to say that Steve Spagnuolo is not only a leader of men, but he game planned well for this particular opponent. Let's see. Make sure I don't miss anything. I want to make sure that I hit all of it. Juan Thornhill didn't have a huge statistical impact, but his play over the top allowed everything else to happen underneath. So I don't want to go without mentioning him, even though you didn't see his name pop up a lot. Still did well in open field tackling. Didn't see any missed tackles today. Sorensen had a couple that kind of threw me, but I thought he played well, especially in the blitz game. And I got to say this. If they're going to run somebody that has to come up and cover, I think it ought to be Thornhill, because I think Fuller's just overmatched running with receivers anymore. I don't know if it's an age thing. I don't know if there's an injury I don't know about, but I like Fuller better at safety now than I do at corner. And that's just the way of things. It's just a look on the field that I'm telling you. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with them. Now, when we flip over to the offensive side, Andy did a better job. They ran the ball 22 times, and that's not counting Mahomes' scrambles. Mahomes took 32 dropbacks, 26 pass attempts. So that's way better balance. It's definitely over 40% if you assume that it was 32 called passes or RPOs that were meant to be passes. It's still a real close to a 40% split. So that's great. I think that shows you that even if you're not getting the big yards, that it helps the team overall with momentum and holding the ball. They held the ball for time, and I know a lot of you buy into Seth and Josh are talking about time of possession. Well, it makes a difference sometimes. It is situational, but it does. And I think it's important that they won that tonight. It helped them overall. On the offensive side, I thought it was unfortunate. Oh, hey, XOXO, thanks for your donation. I missed that one. Sorry. Marshall Smith, thanks for yours, bud. I appreciate that. Donnie Couch, thanks. As always, I appreciate you. Possibly getting Byron Jones. He's somebody to look at in the offseason. Donnie, I'll talk more about him tomorrow. Make sure you hit me up on that. tomorrow night for sure. But Byron's a guy that plays very well. I was surprised that he went to New England in the first place, but I do like him coming to Kansas City next. They're going to have an overhaul at the corner position, so it's going to be very interesting. Also, I think they're going to have to overhaul the offensive line. I think you saw some play that has questions about a couple of guys. I thought they played better with Wisniewski in than they did with Wiley. And I want Wisniewski in. You guys have heard me talk about that, and that's why he's a stabilizing factor. I wanted him in at center for Reeder with Wiley out there with him. But at this point, I'll take however Andy wants to get him on the field, because I think he brings something in nastiness, in angles, and an experience that this team needs going forward. They're going to see these Patriots again. They're going to see the Ravens again. There's a bunch there, and I think Wiz really helps this line settle down. That was the big problem, I think, early in the game. Not only was the hand bothering, and looks like Mahomes is having an X-ray on the fifth metatarsal here on the outside of the hand. He landed on it pretty good, and sometimes you can either get a sprained joint here where it attaches to the rest of the wrist, or sometimes you can fracture that bone. A hairline fracture isn't going to be a big deal. If it's like broken, where it's snapped in any way, green stick or otherwise, and he's still young enough, it could be, a little bit of that. It makes it real hard to grip the football, and so I don't think that's what happened. But if he has a fracture, hairline kind of thing, it could be something that bothers him for a while, but that's mostly pain management. They didn't tape it or wrap it in any way that I saw, so I think they're okay. I don't think you have to worry about Pat Mahomes going forward. I think they have to bottle down and get him so he's not under pressure as much. I felt like he stepped up into the pocket better today. There's a couple of times I wish he would have scrambled and gotten out, but my big takeaway, and it's all over my notes here, is you just got to get the ball out. I thought Pat was holding too much to see plays develop, to see receivers get open. And sometimes I think that's bothersome. So, Marshall Smith, I see yours, and you bring up a question that I was going to get to, so I'll hit it today. But remember, folks, questions tomorrow night. Marshall, thanks for the donation, too. I appreciate it. Was today's performance good enough to get to the Super Bowl? For the most part, yes. I don't think today's performance beats the Ravens right now. Defensively, it does, but I think the Ravens' defense would have limited the Chiefs to less points. So I think that's a problem. On any given Sunday, I think the Bills can put up a really good fight, too. I felt like they did a good job today. I was really interested to see the outcome of the Niners and Saints. I didn't expect it to be that high scoring. I think I screwed myself in fantasy because I left Drew Brees on the bench. But, hey, it is what it is. I think it is good enough to get them through to the AFC Championship, I'll tell you that. And I think it's most likely to be against these Patriots again. And so that's another thing on offense. The formation that they ran that Wildcat touchdown to Kelsey out of is great. I loved it. I'd love to see Sherman in one of those spots, because there are wrinkles that come off of that now. You Wildcat to Kelsey, and he runs out to the side as though it's, either an outside run or a pitch. Pitches it back to Mahomes, who can bomb downstairs. So I think there's all kinds of little things you can do off, and I think Andy waited to show that until this game. He needs more wrinkles for the next time they play the Patriots. He probably needs a couple of wrinkles for the next time they play the Ravens. And I do expect to have to play both of those teams. We'll see what the Bills do as they go forward. If they can push the Patriots out of that division win, dropping the Patriots down to the 5th, and that would be an interesting thing. Getting a bye right now looks unlikely, but I won't say it's out of the realm of possibility. You never know what's going to happen. The Broncos surprised me today. I didn't think they'd put up that much of a fight against the Houston Texans. Somebody else could knock the Patriots down another game. I just don't know. We're going to have to play it by ear today. 81 PPR. Way to go, Chris. That's awesome. The offense overall still has enough weapons to get it done. The Kelsey fumble, I think, was a little bit fluky. I have to give credit. That was a good play on the part of the defender. The blocked punt, you don't see that from a Dave Toub team very often. So I got to think that they get that under control, and that makes a big difference as well. So I feel like both of those are evidence of them surviving misdemeanors that they got through, for lack of a better term. Surviving mistakes, surviving things that went wrong. At halftime, I was talking with the wife, And I know you guys know that she's a Broncos fan, but she was in a Mahomes shirt tonight, ready to go. So I have turned her into a believer. But I was telling her at halftime, I was like, this is where stray calls start going towards the Patriots. This is where the Patriots figure a couple of things out and they make some plays, and you have to guard about it. I was worried that they weren't up enough at the half to sustain against these Patriots, and that's kind of what it came down to. The biggest play, and I know it's kind of small, but if the Patriots had gotten that 2-point conversion, I think it would have set them up to go on for more. I think that last drive probably would have looked different. I think they might have gotten it done. So the defense, again, saved the day, but the offense had to do its job, and they did. I think Damian Williams coming back gives them a little bit more of a 1-2 punch. I think they're going to enjoy that. I don't know if it's going to happen this week or if it's going to be next week. Darwin Thompson, everybody just remember, take a breath. He's going to get there. It'll probably be next year before he's solid. You saw him drop a pass and too much dancing when he got the ball out on the edge. He needs to just put his head down and go. He's going to get there. He's a good player, and I do like his explosiveness. He's just not there yet. And that's why you don't see him playing more. Andy will play him more as it goes on. So, Cody Walters, you have a good point. You still need that killer mentality to put teams away. Yes, they do. And Andy got a little conservative. The announcers made a big thing about Mahomes getting 226 yards in the first half. Well, he finished with 283. And I said this on the podcast that we just recorded too. That's not enough. That's not enough performance. It's one thing if you're doing that and you're running the ball for 6 yards a carry and you rack up 100 yards in the second half. That holds the ball, it hurts the defense, it maintains the offense. But that's not the case. So that's not enough. And I agree with you. The gas pedal has to be down until the final whistle. And I think the one thing that did help the Chiefs is the Patriots got pissed. And the little fighting that broke out, the little thing with Watkins and what's his name? I thought that all fed into keeping the Chiefs like on the razor's edge, keeping them on attack, and I think they really needed that. And I think that may go into them learning, at least from a player standpoint, how to keep that mentality going so that they do keep attacking. I think it's something that evolves, and this is a pretty young team. And that takes me to another one. Mecole Hardman's perfect. 1 target, 1 reception, 1 touchdown, and 48 yards. That's quite a night out against the New England Patriots. And he is just the top performer of a rookie class today. Last week, it was Juan Thornhill. A couple weeks ago before that was Saunders. They've gotten a lot of production, especially out of their top 100 picks, a little bit out of Thompson as well. In top 100 picks, this is why I tell you guys in the offseason, the top 100 is where it's at. That's where you get guys that can contribute and make differences on the field, even if they're a little bit lower down. I thought Colin Saunders had a really good game tonight, too. We just won't know it until I look at the film because it's not stuff that shows up on the stat sheet. So, I mean, that's just part of being a defensive lineman. But I thought he played the run well. I thought he got a little bit of pressure. I thought he helped Nadi a lot, and I thought Nadi got some good pressure, too. Again, he's not an edge rusher, but when you see him split gaps or you see him walk somebody back into the backfield, I think that's pretty good. One guy that I thought was going to have a bigger game was Chris Jones, especially when he got in Tom Brady's face. I felt like that was a good sign, and we didn't see it materialize. Now, Shaq Mason was harassing him all night. At least 4 holds that weren't called by my eye. And that was a particular matchup that I was watching because I thought they would go more at what's his name at center with Jones, but they didn't. They left him out on Shaq Mason a lot. I still felt like that was a mismatch, but they didn't get the calls, and Chris didn't actually get home much in the second half. So I think that was a concerted effort on the part of New England, but it was also, I think, him not being able to channel his energy in the right direction there because Mason is a very athletic guard, and I think that played kind of into his hands. So, but big contributions from, I think Mitch Schwartz took a snap off again. That's kind of weird. But the false start from Eric Fisher is the only thing I'm going to fault Fisher for. I thought he played with pretty good strength, and I felt that he was good in the run game, setting the edges. You saw them throw the pitches. I told you last week, throw the pitches and get to the edges because that's where this team can run. And I felt like they didn't do it enough, but they did do it a little bit. So well done, Andy Reid. I want to see him do it more. And I think that can be a bigger part. Now, it's always a risk. That toss can always be fumbled. So yeah, you don't want to like make it a mainstay, but I think I think it's something that they need to add more wrinkles, and I think it's again um, something that they have to pepper in with running between the tackles. And I do feel like when they do get Thompson back and they feel like they want to get him more carries, and I think that might happen this next week against the Broncos. I do feel like you want to run him between the tackles. I want to see him get north and south more, and I think the edge will come to him as he grows into his role with the team. But the running back position is going to be interesting. Other takeaways, I'm looking at my notes here. Ragland's still playing well in the third quarter. The fumbles, naughty. Breland. Fuller blitzed pretty well. Fuller didn't do very good in the slot, but he did good at safety, so good for him. Spags calling a lot of blitz, and I'm really interested to mark down all the plays so I can get an idea of blitz percentage. If you guys saw me do the analytics video a couple weeks ago about the run game, about Saunders and Patel and Ragland, how they affect the game through the analytics, I'm going to do the same thing towards the blitz percentage because I think that's important as well, in a different way, but I think it's important. So I'll get to that this week. Hopefully I'll get the graphics done. Everything's fine. The graphics are always the hard part that takes me a little bit of time because it makes it hard to look pretty on here. So Golden Pater, yeah, a W is a W. I agree with you. And you beat a solid team, one that's been a perennial thorn in your side. So I'm all for that. Yeah. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just trying to, be honest about where they're at, positive and negative. So I think this is something that they should be excited about coming home, and I think they should be building on it this next week. The Broncos gave you something to think about not being as much of a pushover as we thought they were, so they have to get ready for that. I'm going to get the data from the game sheet here later tonight. I don't think I'll have snap counts till tomorrow, but I'll rewatch the game for you. I'll see what else that I pick up from the condensed version. So check back here tonight at 7 p.m. I should be on time tomorrow, so that'll be a plus. 460 people tonight. That's a pretty good number, you guys. Thanks for spreading the word. I think that's awesome. Maybe I'll just have to be late a little more often, but thank you guys for all that contributed tonight, as well as any other time. I'll be back tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. You be here too. Bring your questions, and we'll dig through it. Andy Humberg, thanks for the updates, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow. If I can get this thing shut off because the button disappeared on me. It's one of those nights, you guys.